Hey guys, so if you're watching this video, you have now made it to part 3, which is going to be me talking about conductors and insulators and what they are in terms of safety for electrical use and different things like that. So if you went out of order and you're watching part 3 first, it's no big deal. Just make sure that you go back and watch the other 2 parts so that you can complete this week's work. But if you're here, you're almost finished. And this video is just as short as the last one, so I'll keep it brief. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what a conductor is. So a conductor is something that allows electricity to flow through it. So if you think about a conductor on a train, they are allowing the train to move. They kind of are the person that says, when we're going or what we're doing. A conductor, in terms of electricity or an object, is something that allows electrical use to happen. So if you think about a conductor, it's usually something that connects or uses electricity. An insulator is something that blocks electricity from flowing through it. Now, insulators are really, really helpful, and they prevent us from getting any type of shock or burn or anything else when we plug stuff into a wall. So insulators are actually really helpful in keeping us safe while using electricity or any type of battery that's plugged in so that we don't have that shock or that burn. So a conductor allows electricity to flow through it, and an insulator blocks electricity from flowing through it. So I'm going to pause. I wrote this down for you if you need to pause and write. A conductor allows electricity, and an insulator blocks electricity. Okay? So if you think about, well, I need an example. A conductor is usually made of some type of metal. So let's just say I have my batteries in my remote, and I'll use this example again. If you have metal pieces in your remote, those springs, that's allowing the electricity to flow through a circuit. So I'm going to hold it up again. You can kind of see the springs are down here, okay, and they allow for the battery to continue circling that electrical energy through the battery. So, through the remote. If you had springs that weren't made of metal, your remote probably wouldn't work. So conductors have to be made of metal because that electrical current wouldn't work otherwise. Metals are just an easier transfer of force through the battery or through whatever is being used. So without that metal piece, your electricity probably wouldn't work at all. So the transfer, the force or the voltage that goes through a metal is much stronger than it would be plastic. It wouldn't work at all if it were plastic. So that leads me to my next one, which is an insulator. So I pulled my Amazon Alexa out of the wall. Okay, so she's not plugged in right now, so she's not going to start randomly playing any music. But if you look, I have my plug, and then there's a wire attached. Now, if you look, and obviously you've probably noticed before if you've plugged anything in ever, you have some type of rubber or plastic wrapping around the wires. Now, there are wires under here. If you've ever had like a frayed phone charger and it starts to kind of pull off, you can kind of see the wires start to stick out, and that happens. It happens in headphones and different plugs and anything that really you can plug in, but usually they're not safe to use. Well, why aren't they safe to use? Because they're no longer wrapped in that plastic or the rubber that's going to keep us safe from accidentally shocking ourselves. So it's really good to have that plastic or that rubber piece covered, and even sometimes wood can also be an insulator just because it's not metallic. It won't have that shock if you touch it. So an insulator actually prevents electricity from being flown through it because we don't want that transfer to go to our hand, or we don't want the transfer to go really anywhere else that the plug touches, because that would be dangerous. So an insulator, even though it's blocking around the outside, is actually sending all of that electricity from the plug through the wires and then all the way into Alexa, okay, or really whatever you're plugging in. So usually they're made of other materials. Insulators are really any other material that is not metal, okay, and that would be really a good example of something that would protect your skin from shock or burn, okay. So I want you guys to think about different items in your house that might be insulators and things that might be conductors. All right, so that was part 3. Good luck, and don't forget to hit submit when you're finished and save your own copy to Schoology. And that's it for this week. Good job, guys.